Hi guys, today we're looking at week 6, grade 10 distance learning, where we looked at sonnet XXX, also known as sonnet 30, and IELTS reading comprehension. Let's continue. Sonnet XXX by Edna St. Vincent Millay, also known as sonnet 30 or Love is Not All. Remember that when we talk about sonnets, often the first lines of the sonnet can double up as the title of the sonnet. So let's read through it. Love is not all, it is not meat nor drink, nor slumber nor a roof against the rain, nor yet a floating spar to men that sink, and rise and sink, and rise and sink again. Love cannot fill the thickened lung with breath, nor clean the blood, nor set the fractured bone. Yet many a man is making friends with death, even as I speak, for lack of love alone. It well may be that in a difficult hour, pinned down by pain and moaning for release, or nagged by want and past resolution's power, I might be driven to sell your love for peace, or trade the memory of this night for food. It well may be. I do not think I would. Okay. So in Sonnet 30 by Edna, we look at the theme of love again, the same as we looked at Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day by William Shakespeare? And here she's taken a much different approach to expressing how she feels about love. Shakespeare did a lot of comparison, so he was speaking a lot of physical beauty and he was comparing her to beautiful things in nature. Whereas here it's a comparison, but it's a comparison in a different sort of way. Let's break it down. So, stanza 1. We know that our stanzas are broken up into 4 lines, each line. So, stanza equals 4 lines. You know this. So, our first stanza, 4 lines. Let's have a look at our rhyme scheme real quick. We've got drink, which is A, and sink here. They rhyme with each other, so this would also be A. We look at rain, that would be B. And we've got rain and again rhyme with each other, so we've got B. So we've got an A-B rhyme scheme. That basically means we're following a Shakespearean sonnet format. Right. So let's take it further. Love is not all, it is not meat nor drink. What she means by this is that love is not a necessity, right? It's not an essential. She starts off here by making a very bold statement. And the statement is that love is not essential. Not essential to what? Our well-being. We need food. Essentially, what she's saying is that we need food and water to survive, but we don't necessarily need love to survive. Okay, says we need food and water to survive, and not love, or love doesn't aid us in survival. That's the first line. Okay. She says, nor slumber nor roof against the rain. So slumber here can be translated to sleep, or roof against the rain. This here translates to shelter. Slumber is sleep, and roof against the rain is shelter. So the bold statement again is that love is not essential to our well-being. And then she continues to give us scenarios, right? So the first scenario here is not food and water. It's not sleep, and it's not shelter. Floating spar. Floating spar here is translated to some sort of pole. It's a pole that helps keep balance on a ship. That's what a floating spar is. Okay. So and rise and sink and rise and sink again. So this rise and sink and rise and sink creates imagery. Creates the imagery of waves in the ocean, right? It's the motion of the ocean. And you know that it can be very, very dangerous when we don't have that. When we don't have that, not when we don't have that, when you are stuck in the tide. Okay, so she creates the imagery of waves in the ocean and a dangerous tide. And this is what you would need a floating spar for. So basically, just to summarize this first stanza, she starts off with a statement and she says to us that love is not essential. And then she gives us scenarios. And she gives us scenarios where love would not be helpful. So over here, we've seen 4 scenarios where love would not help you in any way. Right. And then let's continue on to our next stanza. Look at the second stanza, and it says here that love cannot fill the thickened lung with breath, nor clean the blood, nor set the fractured bone. Yet many a man is making friends with death, even as I speak, for lack of love alone. Let's break this down. Thickened lung, clean the blood, set, and fractured. Let's start there. So, if you have a thickened lung, it basically means that you have a collapsed lung or a lung that is filled with fluid. When you're quite sick, you'd have something like tuberculosis, or you would have pneumonia, or it could be filled with blood. Maybe you have a punctured lung, all right? So a thickened lung, love cannot fill your thickened lung with breath, with breath, right? Nor clean the blood. Which organ cleans the blood of our body? The kidney. So it is not even as essential to our body as the kidney is. It would die without our kidneys. Nor set, fix. And fractured here means cracked. If your bone is fractured, it's not completely broken. It's just cracked. The Gash has given us 3 more scenarios. The Gash has given us 3 more scenarios where love is not essential, where love will not help us in any way. She continues to create the image. She's doing here in the next 2 lines. She continues to create this image where love is not helpful to our survival, right? And then we see a very big turning point in our poem. Yet, right? So all along, our poem has had kind of a negative attitude towards love, right? So she's been kind of pessimistic towards love up until this point. And then after here, we see a massive turning point. This yet indicates a turning point. So indicate that for you. Mm, so she's creating some sort of drama, suspense. Yeah, she says, yet many a man is making friends with death. How do you make friends with death, right? If you make friends with death, it basically means that you're causing yourself self-harm. You're causing yourself harm purposefully. You're purposefully hurting yourself for the sake, for lack of love alone, for just for the sake that you have no love, right? And also, having a broken heart feels as if you could die. Oh, this is what she means here when she says making friends with death. Yet, so it's a turning point, yet, even as I speak, even as she's writing this poem, for lack of love alone, for having no love, or losing love. Put that in there, like for losing love. So, what she says here in the beginning, she continues to create scenarios where love is not helpful to our survival. And she's given us three more scenarios, and this is about our body and how our body functions and what we need from our body. All right. And then there's a turning point, and she says, and even though knowing all of this, many people are causing themselves self harm and are purposefully hurting themselves, and you feel as if you could die from a broken heart just because you've lost the one that you love. So here she creates the idea. She creates the idea of us not being able to understand what love is and why we need it, because it's not essential to our well-being. We don't need it to survive. Yet, if we don't have it, we feel as if we could die. This is what she's doing here. So she creates this idea of us not understanding what love is, and why it has such why it plays such an important role in our lives, because it doesn't help us in any way. It's not a physical thing that we can hold accountable, right? Like our lungs, we hold our lungs accountable for our breath, and we hold our kidneys accountable for cleaning our blood, right? And we hold food and water essential for accountable for nutrients and um, providing energy to our body. But love does nothing of that. So she doesn't understand. So she creates this idea of us not understanding what love is and why we need it so much. Okay, let's continue on to the next slide. It's stanza 3. And then she says, it well may be that in a difficult hour, pinned down by pain and moaning for release, or nagged by want and past resolution's power, I might be driven to sell your love for peace. Right. So let's break it down here. In a difficult hour, tough times, okay? Times. Pinned down by pain and moaning for release, extreme circumstances. And this can translate to anything of extreme pain. When you are in extreme pain, we often see this in movies. When you are in extreme pain, people can be convinced to do anything or to say anything just to get them out of the pain. Okay. Nagged, you know what the word nagged means, to be constantly bothered, right? Constantly bothered by one's past resolutions power. Past resolutions power means everything before she discovered love. So before she discovered love, she had resolutions, she had goals, and she had everything. And now that she's discovered love, it's almost as if those things don't matter. And yeah, she's just creating the image of love being extremely powerful. So I might be driven. Driven here means convinced. You might be convinced to sell your love for peace. So basically what she's done here is now she's given us more scenarios, okay? So she's giving us scenarios again. These scenarios are not essential scenarios to our survival. These are scenarios that would ease our suffering. So she gives us scenarios that could ease our suffering. And she says, well, you know, if I were experiencing a very tough time, or if I were in extreme circumstances or extreme pain, or I was just bothered by everything that I had wanted before I discovered love, I might be convinced to sell your love for peace. Yes, I might be. If everything I ever wanted was on a plate in front of me, and all I had to do was sell your love for peace to gain everything that I want, this is what she's doing here. This is what she says here. Yeah. Move on to our rhyming couplet. Or trade the memory of this night for food. It well may be, I do not think I would. So here she gives us again another scenario. She says, or trade the memories of my loved ones, right? Trade, swap. Swap or give up. Okay? Swap or give up the memories of them. She says, it well may be, it might be so. It may be so, right? I do not think I would. This is such a massive ending. Said she's even herself, this person who has such a negative outlook towards love, who understands that love is not essential to our well-being, that we don't need it to survive. It's not as important as our lungs and our kidneys and food and water or roof over our heads, right? Even this person, if you were to tell her, I'll give you every single thing you've ever wanted, in your whole life, all you have to do is give up the memories of your loved ones. She turns around and she says, I do not think I would. She would not trade the memories of her loved ones. She tells us here that love is everything. Even though we don't need it to survive, right? And this ties in with stanza 2, where she created the image of us not understanding love. Because you need food to survive. You don't need love to survive, right? And a memory is not something that you can physically hold. It's not something tangible. Food is something tangible, right? And she would not trade a memory of her loved ones at all, even for food. This is how strongly she feels about love. Right. And then we can quickly just have a squiz at our conclusion. So she ends off with a summary, and the summary is basically she compares love to the essentials in life, and she states that love isn't a necessity in life. And then she continues to provide scenarios where love would be of no help or importance, like food and water, shelter, the spa on the ship. And it's not our kidneys, it's not our lungs, and it's definitely not going to fix a broken bone, right? But and then she continues to say that we are not able to understand what love is and why we need it so much and why we cannot live without it. And she ends off by stating that she wouldn't trade the memories of her loved ones for peace. She would rather suffer than give up the memories of her loved ones for. And then we just have a look here, right? So we just continue on with our summary a little bit more in detail. That speaks about how intangible and how hard it is to define love, and how strange love seems when described in this way. Love is nothing solid, it is not meat nor drink, it is not necessary for sustaining our human life. It does not nourish the body or protect it from the elements or mend broken bones. But then, love, the poem reminds us, has an incredible power over us. Lack of love can tempt us to make friends with death, even in the most difficult hour, where she's pinned down by pain and moaning for release. The poet tells us that she might be driven to sell your love for peace, or trade her memories for food. And she concludes by affirming that it well may be, I do not think I would. This ending illustrates how illogical we all are when it comes to love. For lack of love, some of us will court death. What that means is basically that we feel as if we could die of a broken heart. And yet, if we are faced with death, we would not exchange the moments and memories of love to save our bodies at all. And that's that. That is the end of our poem, Sonnet 30. We saw a very different approach to love. Now we move on to IELTS. And if you look in your IELTS book, you will see that we are in Unit 15. I'll just show you quickly here. Unit 15, Beyond Gravity. And we are here at this reading, focus on reading 1, Out of This World. And the instruction here is skim the text for general idea of the topic, then answer questions 1 to 12. Before we do this, we need to understand what is the difference between skimming and scanning. So if we are skimming through a text, it means that we are quickly reading over the text to get a general idea. To get a general idea of the text. And if we are scanning the text, we are looking for specific words or phrases. And this is basically our key words. So this is the difference between skimming and scanning. What you do is you scan the text. You generally have about a minute and a half to, not scan, sorry, skim. You have about a minute and a half to skim through the text real quickly, get a general idea of what the text is about. Right. Once you've done that, you go down to your questions. We move here to our questions. Questions 1 to 4. We're here at this one. Questions 1 to 4. What we do here is we have to identify keywords. So your questions help you identify keywords. Once you've done that, once you've identified your keywords, you go back and you scan the text for those keywords. So let us identify our keywords here. Trips to the moon are available at a cost of. So we're looking for moon, and we're also looking for anything in relation to cost. Passengers on Spaceship Two are promised wonderful views from a height of something above Earth. So Spaceship Two is our keyword here. The Virgin Galactic Company has undertaken to assist research into the Virgin Galactic Company. And the last one, Professor James Lovelock, is famous as the originator of, so we're looking for Professor James Lovelock. So these are our keywords now. We've identified our keywords. So we're going to go back to the text. Go back to the text and we identify, we scan for these keywords and we answer the questions. Now, something super important to remember is that we were given very, very specific instructions. And our instructions here tell us 2 words and or a number. So we are looking for answers that are either 2 words long and or a number. All right? Nothing more, nothing less. You can't add in a whole sentence. You only need to add in 2 words or a number and or a number. Right? That's what we do for questions 1 to 4. Now we do the exact same thing for 5 to 9. Yes, no, not given. So for yes, no, not given, if it is yes, it means that there is evidence in the text. If it is no, it's the opposite. So there's no evidence in the text. And if it is not given, it means it is unclear. So it's unclear the position. The position is unclear. So we do the exact same thing now. We're going to identify keywords. Identify keywords. You scan the text for those keywords, and then you answer yes, no, not given. If we were to do this together, keyword here, Dennis Tito. Virgin Galactic, the next one. Per Exum, sorry. And here we are looking for Virgin Galactic and Professor Lovelock, okay? And space tourism is our last one. So those are our keywords there. So that's what we're looking for answers here. Read very carefully when it comes to this. Read very carefully. And then we'll move on to the last one. 10 to 12. And what you do here is same thing. Right. Keywords, 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 keywords. Always with the keywords. These help us identify. So space tourism, the first one here. Oh, sorry. They're all about space tourism. So we're looking for challenge and adventure. Anything about challenge and adventure, environmentally friendly transport, and attitude. Attitude. These are keywords that we're looking for here. And what we've got to go and do now is find out what each one of these said, and then we know which letter corresponds with the number. The easiest way to do this would be to go and identify the names. So you go to the text and you scan for Dennis Tito. Once you found Dennis Tito, you read what Dennis Tito has said. If it relates to any of these three, then you make a note of that. Same thing with Richard Branson, Per Eskom, Professor James Lovelock, and Professor Robert Ball. All right. Once you've done that, then you go through process of elimination. So if any one of these appeal to any of these, you go through process of elimination. That's the quickest and the easiest way to get through a question like this, where only 3 marks are applicable. And that is all that we had done in our 3 periods this week. Thank you guys so much for joining. It's always such a pleasure. The best, stay safe, take care.